Hello everyone, welcome to episode number 5 of the Bill podcast, and today we'll be looking into Markdown, a plain text to HTML converter that has been used in a lot of websites and in a lot of useful way even for software development. Now firstly, I apologize for missing a week as I was sick with a little bit of sore throat last Friday. So let's get started with this episode with Markdown. So when I googled Markdown, it was the very first website that will come across is Daring Fireball. John Gruber, the creator of Markdown, along with his friend, created this in almost 8 years ago. And what we're going to do is we're going to download the source code and try to look into that and create some HTML out of that, so as to understand the fundamentals of Markdown. So I'm just going to click this and it'll get downloaded. It's just a very simple Markdown file. Right. Okay, so inside the Markdown source code, we will find one Perl file, markdown.pl, and then of course the license and some readme. So I'm going to shift this markdown.pl, which is a Perl file, into the desktop. And when I'm inside my desktop, alright, I see markdown.pl. And next what I'm going to do is, let me just create index.test.md, which is for Markdown. So now I have a Markdown text file, text.markdown file, and the markdown.pl. So let me open this text.mv and then just write in something. So in order to create a header 1, what we are going to do is we are going to add h and then heading 1. In order to create heading 2, we are going to do h heading 2, and paragraph will be just like that. So I'm not going to show much of it. Later I'm going to show in another example, but for now let me just save it. And now in order to compile it, what we will do is we will run the Markdown file. So first of all, make sure that Perl, the programming language, is installed in your machine, and you can check it by Perl-V, and then let's run the Markdown file. So we are going to do Perl, then Markdown, and then we are going to do text.mb, and we are going to put this sign there, and then we are going to do index.html. Let's see how it looks. Alright, so now the index.html file is created, and let me just open it. Now when you open, you will see that my heading 1, heading 2, and my lorem ipsum is there. And when I go to view source, you will see that my heading 1 with just a h file has been converted into HTML tags. So Markdown is typically used for creating inline HTML. So let's now create something more interesting. So I thought of creating a very simple thing. Let's go ahead and learn something about Osi Layer as well. So Osi Layer. Right, so when we go to the Wikipedia page, we'll see that the Osi Layer, the model, is actually a standard that describes the communication, and it kind of separates the communication layers into 7 layers. So let's see what we can do with Osi and create a little Markdown file. So in order to do that, first I will just make a directory and call it Osi. And I'm going to move the Markdown into Osi/markdown.pl. Alright, so now let me go inside, cd Osi, and when I go in, I have the Markdown file. So let me just create a very simple osi.md file. Okay, and now I will edit this. So I will go inside. So let me just open up this in Sublime Text. Okay, so this text is essentially blank, and now we're going to put in some words into it. So as you know, heading is just H1, and we're going to just put a H sign there, OSI model. And then we're going to write in a sentence there. OSI model is a standard for the functions of communication systems into 7 abstraction layers. Right, so I'm going to save it, and this time I will actually use this desktop application called Mo app, and let's see how it looks inside. Alright, so as you can see, it will show you through this Mo app. If you go to the internet, let me show you the page for Mo app. Mo app Markdown. It is a very beautiful Markdown editor for Mac OS, and you can download this and use it. So what it does is that on the left hand side you can write Markdown, and on the right hand side it will actually show you how it looks with the generated HTML, which is a pretty neat one, I thought. So let's do this. So we have learned how to do H1 and paragraph. If you want to do H2, you will just have to include 2 H signs, and if it's H3, it's 3 H signs, and so on. I'll just include it as H1. Alright, and then if you want to include just a horizontal line, you just have to put the dashes a few more times, and here you will see the horizontal line here. Okay, so now let's create some lists. The different layers are, and in Markdown the way to create an unordered list is just a dash, and then you can just start typing. So layer 7 is actually the application layer, which is the topmost layer, and then layer 6 is presentation layer. So how you see that? There's the bullet points here, which is the unordered list. So let's say I want to have some bolded items. So in order to do bold, I just have to create double asterisks, and then you will see that the OSI model word is actually bolded. What about creating a hyperlink for more information? Check out wiki, and let's say I want to link it to the OSI Layer Wikipedia. Right, I want to link it to this website. So the way you do it is you will first have to create a square bracket around the word that you want to hyperlink it, and then just round brackets, and then you just paste in your website, and you will see that the word wiki is actually hyperlinked. How about an image? So what I'm going to do is let me go into the Wikipedia page, and just for the sake of illustration I will try to get this linked. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to download this file first using wget that I kind of showed in previous episode number 2, I believe, for the terminal. And then I will see that, okay, I have a SVG file, and let me try to link this. So what I'll do is it's very similar to the hyperlink. It's an exclamation mark, and within the square bracket I will write the alt text OSI layer, and then within round brackets I will just write the hyperlink, or rather the relative link of the picture image. In this case, since they are all in the same folder, I will just write .svg, and here you will see the image coming here. Okay, so we have learned how to do headers, bold words. How about italics? So for italics it is only a single asterisk, and That's it. You will see that layer 7 is now italics. So I'm just gonna do it a few more times so that you kind of get the hint of it, and at the same time get to know the OSI layers. So in layer 5 we have the transport layer. Layer 5 is a session. Layer 4 is transport. Layer 3 is network. Layer 2 is data link. And layer 1 is physical. Alright, now what if you want to have some nested list? And nested list is pretty easy as well. All you need to do is just tab, and if you want to have an ordered list, you just need to type 1, 2 and then get going. So in this case, let's say it's FTP, file transfer protocol, number 2 HTTP, number 3 SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol. Alright, so this is how you have the nested list. What else should I show? We have shown paragraph, heading, images, hyperlink, bold, italics, lists, and lastly we will show how to insert codes into Markdown. So the way we do it is, let's say Markdown converts plain text to HTML tags, such as, for example, the tag h1 is actually a code, so we will just add a tilde around it, and when we do that we will see that the font will be the Consolas or computer code like fonts, and it will be embedded inside the code tags. So let me continue. Let's say P, etc. Alright, so Markdown is, as you can see, it's really simple, and you can generate inline HTML with Markdown. So let me go through a few resources for Markdown. So as you know, the main website is the Daring Fairball's website for Markdown, and here you can see the basics, the syntax, and even a web-based version of Markdown called Dingus, where you can actually write the Markdown here, and you can even convert to HTML. The next one is 30 resources for Markdown. It's really cool. You have tons of resources in terms of cheat sheets, web editors, desktop editor, trunk full of materials for Markdown. And next, I also wanted to show you a very brief Markdown cheat sheet. It's in a PDF format, but I believe that if you do Markdown for a while, all the codes of what you need to generate the various HTML. And finally, I also wanted to tell you where do we actually use Markdown. Now in GitHub, whenever we want to, this thing they will require you to do is have this readme.md, usually a Markdown format file. So if you know a Markdown, then you can create this file, and what they will do is they will present that to you in the very first page. So let's say and in jQuery you will find that the basic information about jQuery is actually written down in the readme file, which is right down here. It is actually a readme.md file, which is a Markdown file. You also use Markdown in this website called Stack Overflow if you want to post new questions or comment on others. Markdown is definitely used here. So let's say I go here and I ask a question. Right. So Markdown is definitely supported here. So if you go here, how to format, they will actually encourage you to use Markdown formatting. And lastly, there's also another website that I love to visit. It's called forced.com. And over here, when you want to post a new topic or even comment, it encourages you to use Markdown as well. So here they will say supported Markdown, so here you can start typing hey there, and then it will kind of display as a header or a paragraph or a hyperlink. So I hope you got in some insights into Markdown. It is a really simple way of generating HTML and also writing inline codes. I will include all this in the show notes. And let me next go on to the build link. Oops, what happened? Alright, build link of the episode. Now this week's build link of the episode goes to learntocodethehardway.org. Now this is a very interesting website. It is one of my favorite websites for learning programming languages, and this is created by Zed Shah. Over here you can see Python, Ruby, C, SQL, regular expressions, and it's very neat books here, all available for free, or if you want to support the author Zed Shah, do buy the PDF or the ebook formats, and here you can learn a lot of the programming stuff, including command line as well. So I highly encourage you to check out Learn to Code the Hard Way, learncodethehardway.org. Right, and finally, for all other episodes of Build Podcasts, do visit buildpodcast.com, and I welcome support and feedback. You can even subscribe this through iTunes or RSS or even GitHub for the show notes. So I'll see you next week once again. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.